Good morning. All right, we can get straight into it. Let's turn these off again. I forget every time. That one. You can see my mug. Right, so I wanted to do a video. This will help the new people and it will also help the experienced people. So get comfortable with choosing a property. Now, I'm assuming you've chosen your area, okay? And I'm going to show some examples. On what you should be looking for, because there are some of you who are experienced, however, you seem to be forgetting some of the basics. So I want to make sure that we stick to the basics. And the basics are going to help you avoid from the outset, if you like. If you're on, guys, just here, I'll mute you. I'll muted you. So we'll ask some questions at the end. I'll answer questions and that type of stuff. But let's quickly run through the basics, and then I'll show you the examples of where the basics work. Now, the trouble with being experienced is you learn shortcuts, and shortcuts, if you like, can be seen as a bit lazy, can be seen as a bit complacent, can be seen as a bit arrogant, if you like, that, hey, I don't need to do that. I know what I'm doing. It will just, this will happen, that will happen. Well, it doesn't always happen like that. And you'll be lucky to get by without getting any scrapes and scuffs and that type of thing. So you'll remember the whole core system. And for those who've done it online or face-to-face, it's exactly the same information that you get. So there's no excuse that you've been taught differently. It's different stuff. Everyone here has been taught exactly the same information, exactly the same method. So whether you're doing it online or in person. Online, it should be actually better because you can keep going over and over and over again. So for those of you who have access online, just go back and go through the whole entire core system because you're going to need it. If you are thinking about cutting corners, it's good to always refresh anyway and go back through it. So we're looking at the entire cash flow system, which starts with the core. Obviously, the core is your central operations, realty, and experience. And then you go to your acquisition. So without having the core, the whole entire cash flow system will screw up. You acquire the wrong property. It might be the right property in the wrong area. You might acquire the wrong property for the end user. You might have the wrong end user, blah, blah, blah. You know, and where you search for properties, where you get the properties, how you fulfill the properties, in other words, how you furnish them. And you know, how you pay for them, how you get occupancy, what guests you get in, and how you get paid. It can all go wrong from the outset. It's like that. You get 2, 3, 4 to 5 degrees of this wrong, or percentage of this wrong. It starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger as you go along. And unfortunately, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger when you expect money to start coming in and the money's much less. So let's make sure that we don't do that. So we have to start with where we want to get our property and what we want to get. So I'm assuming you've got your area, whether that be Edinburgh, Oxford, Cambridge, Bath, Windsor, you name it, right? Ascot, Bristol, Manchester, Liverpool, wherever you are, Bath, you know. You've already got your area, and I'm assuming that you've done the research for the area, and let's face it, most areas now do work, because service accommodation has become more of a acceptable means of accommodation, if you like, over and above hotels. So it's become very, very popular globally. So most people know about it. And a lot of that has been helped from Airbnb. So let's start off with central. Central. It doesn't mean that it has to be central to the area, to the city. So, you know, my golden rule is a 10-minute walk from your property to the central location that they are going to. So if it's a cricket pitch, the cricket pitch is not going to be in the dead center of town. It needs to be a 10-minute walk to that cricket pitch, or a football ground, or a stadium, or a museum. Or if you're doing contractors, a 10-minute walk to, or 10-minute drive, should I say, in most cases. So just make note of that. It's a 10-minute drive for contractors. They want it on their doorstep. They want to be able to get there quick. Now, contractors think differently. They don't mind being on the outskirts, because ordinarily they don't want to spend money in the center of town, which is going to be expensive. They may decide to cook at home, I don't know, but you've got to have stuff around there that they can quickly grab to eat. A shop, whether they want to make sandwiches or bacon and eggs at home. And don't forget, they could be there a month, 2 months, 3 months. So they want to be able to walk to the shop. They don't want to be going tramping around in their car, messing about, once they've actually, you know, got their home from home, got their location. So, but they do like a takeaway, you know, if they stay on the weekends and they watch football, or Thursday night football, or whatever it might be, and they like to have a beer. So a nice little supermarket, whether it's a Co-op or a small Tesco's Express or whatever it is, it doesn't have to be big, that they can go to and they can get their supplies for the week. You know, you've got to understand how contractors work. And we're talking the blue collars and the white collars. So it doesn't matter. 1 second. Sorry, I think the dog's chewing through a electricity cord. So one size will not fit all. Now, by saying that, one size may fit many, but it will never fit all. So if you want to attract blue collar workers, you need to pick the location that's going to be close to where these blue collar workers will be working, whether it's contractors, full-time, or whatever it is. Now, when I say full-time, I mean, you know, every day of the week, they might get Sunday off, and it might be for 2 or 3 months. Now, there is always going to be work going on in cities, because there's constant, and I'm talking big cities, there's constantly new buildings going up, there's roadworks, there's all sorts of stuff going on, right? There's always things going on. Now, you need to choose your property carefully, because if it's, let's say it's Cambridge, and you pick a property and it's going to be focused on blue collar workers, well, you need to understand what regeneration is going on around there that requires contractors on a big scale. Because don't forget, you're not going to be the only property. So what's going to be working, what's going to be there on a large scale? So in Cambridge, for 3 years, they had the roadworks. So that worked brilliantly. But it doesn't mean to say that you're going to have the property for more than 3 years. This may be short term being 3 years, not 3 months. So you get in there, you make your money. You may find that when that project is finished, that your bookings go down dramatically. So you must know your exit strategy as well. Where you can get a property that's going to stick long term, you know, for blue collar workers and that type of stuff, is near airports. You know, big airports like Heathrow, Gatwick, you know, even the Birmingham airport, Manchester airports, Liverpool airport, all the big city airports, because there's always something going on where contractors are required. Always something going on, whether that be aircraft maintenance, you know, they're not always full-time, these people. They have contractors coming in when they do scheduled maintenance and that type of stuff. There are also flight simulators and that type of stuff. We call them the white collar, if you like, the pilot training. So this is somewhere where you're going to get consistent, you know, contractor, if you like, people coming in or guests. So just be wary of that. You know, I know people out there who have properties. Oh yeah, I go mad with contractors. It's amazing. And then I've got other people who go, right, I've spoken to that person. I'm going to go contractors. This is what I want to do. However, where this person has these properties are within a 10-minute drive to Heathrow Airport, Gatwick Airport, or wherever it might be, and it's always in demand. And then the other person goes and gets it and puts one, you know, a 5-minute walk from Cambridge or something, and they wonder why they can't get contractors in. Number one, they probably don't have parking, and number two, the rents are so high that your nightly rate is going to be high. So contractors are not going to spend that money. They're not going to spend a £250, £300 a night. Very rarely are they going to spend that. You know, hospitals, surgeons coming in, that type of stuff. So that's the white collar contractors, if you like. You know, we know some surgeons, and some surgeons work in Peterborough for 2 days, and they work 3 days in Cambridge, but they don't actually live in either of them. And they don't normally want to commute, so they'll stay there and they'll do 3 or 4 operations up here in Peterborough. They'll stay somewhere for the night, but they book that every single week, those 2 days or 3 days or 3 nights or whatever it is, they book it for the next year up. So that's where you can get a consistent supply of contractors as well. Now, if you're in the city and you want to attract tourists, well, you can do a double here. You can attract tourists and you can attract business people. But you're going to need a 2-bed, 2-bath property for tourists. And business people may tend to go for that 1 bed, and a 1 bed may not be for tourists. So it's kind of a, you know, which one are you going to do? I would do the 2-bed, always. It's a nice generic all-round property. You may also get your white collar workers staying in there if they're perhaps doing some sort of course or something in the city. So there's always an attraction in cities or very large towns that, you know, so Colchester, I don't think it's a city, or it might be a city, I don't know. But they're big towns where you'll get those sort of people coming in. So you're going to need to know where there's big, you know, it's the basics. And I know some of you are saying, oh yeah, we already know this, we know this. There's 2 things about knowledge. There's knowing and there's doing. You know, I know a lot about certain things. Like I know a lot about electric Porsches because I did my research, but I don't know how to build one because I haven't had that training. You've had the training on how to find and how to select and how to promote. So, but it's, you know, if I decided to learn how to build an electric car, I'd have to become like an expert in electricity, and I'd have to be like the Tesla man, and I'd have to be an expert in wheels and tires and gearboxes and paint and window, all this sort of thing. We don't have to do that. However, what you do need to do, you need to have an overview of everything. So, you know, we talk about operations, and let's quickly go through. So Central could be a 10-minute walk to a train station, a major attraction such as a hospital. So it doesn't have to be a 10-minute walk to the city. It can be a 10-minute walk to the city if the city is providing, you know, your business and your travel focus and that type of thing. There could be a micro within your micro area. Your micro area, you might say, is Cambridge, but there'll be certain streets within that area. I know Tim knows Oxford well. You know, your target attractions is a 10-minute rule. You know, if it's a bloody, you know, a mine in the middle of nowhere, it could be that you have a property there because there's consistently people coming in who are not paid by the mines to work there. They are contracted. So it could be something like that. So that could be your target attraction. They could be building new oil rigs or whatever. So people come offshore, onshore, and they need to be staying, you know, close to the port or whatever it might be. Ports, again, could be something like that where people come and work and, you know, what do they call them? The dock boys and that type of stuff. I don't know. This is what you have to look into and find your research. So this is all about research. before you take that plunge, especially on the guest type. We also talk about bleisure. Bleisure travelers are slow at the moment, and it's even going to be even slower because of the Omicron. And this is that, most of the bleisure travelers are US travelers. So they will book their trip under their company card. They'll come for 4 or 5 days. They'll have 2 meetings, really only need to be here for 1 day. But what they'll do is they'll coincide it with, so-called other meetings, and they may bring their wife and kids or something like that and stay for the week. They'll come on the Friday night. They'll do their meetings on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They'll take a day off on Friday. They'll fly out back on the Sunday. However, the work is paying the entire trip, if you like. And then they use their fly points, their air points, their air miles to pay for their wife or the spouse or the kids or whatever. So that's bleisure travel. How do I know this? Because I used to milk the shit out of it when I worked in the corporate world. I loved it. I used to go to Vegas, and I used to go on helicopter trips and all other sort of things in Vegas. When I went to Florida, and I went to Utah, and went to New York and Chicago, traveled all over the US, and I traveled all over Europe. I remember going to New York City. In fact, I stayed in New York City at a nice Marriott hotel right in the center. I went for 4 days. I went for 4 work days. I went on the Friday, flew out, got there on the Saturday, and I didn't leave until the Thursday night. And I had 1 meeting with a Citibank. It was a very big customer of ours. And that's how I justified to go to New York City. And I took 2 other people with me, all expenses paid. I had my meeting on Monday afternoon, which I got a big cab, and it took us out there on Monday afternoon. The cab, I think, was $200 round trip. It was quite a bit out of New York City. We then had 2.5 hours there. We then got in the cab and we came back. For the rest of the time, we did some work on our laptops or whatever, but we went out at night, we had lunches, all expenses paid. That was a true bleisure trip. And we did loads and loads and loads of those. I remember staying in suites in Amsterdam, going for 3 days, having 1-2 meetings. You get them out of the way, and then you have your bleisure. And that, believe it or not, is the corporate world. I'm not sure if it's how it still operates, but I'm pretty sure it does, because I know a lot of people who still work in American companies, and especially Americans coming to the UK, and a lot of them haven't done it before. And they will stay in sometimes hotels because they get it with their air miles, but if they're coming with family, they will stay in central apartments. And that's what they do. They stay in those. In fact, if you're advertising on booking.com, not booking.com, on HomeAway, you need to understand the Americanisms language, and HomeAway is the biggest used channel for the Americans. So you need to find out what your terminology is, and they may decide that they call it a condo. So it may be that you put in, not a central apartment, central condo, because you're attracting these Americans. So think about the language as well as who you are, attracting for these bleisure travelers. At the moment, it's going to be quiet. However, it will change if this Omicron goes away. So your target attractions could be museums, Oxford, could be museums, could be the schools, could be the colleges, etc., especially when they come for the graduations and that type of thing. Fully booked, prices go up. And then you have your Christmas market. So you have your touristy things, which are not just for, international people, they're also for your local travelers, especially Christmas, Easter, and all these sort of things. And then in between there, you can double up. You can have tourists who come from overseas, and then you can have your business travelers and that type of thing, and your bleisure travelers. And you may have your white collar contractors, probably a bit higher for blue collar contractors. And then you can choose if you want to do your long-term rentals at a high end. You may decide to do students, fully serviced student let or something like that, where you charge a 30% premium. You may choose to have an HMO where you have 3 people staying in a purpose built apartment. I won't go into that now, but if you want to know more about it, within the rules, and you may charge a premium for serviced HMO. You know, put whatever spin on you want it to make that premium. So central to the target attraction, you know, for tenants, and we're talking here long-term tenants, is there sufficient parking? Also for guests, is there sufficient parking? Do you need parking? You know, if I go to now, if I go to booking.com and I want to, oh look, I wonder whose that is, Timbo, 0.2 miles to the centre. Another one, Timbo, 0.54 miles. So Tim Dix has got some great apartments there, and he got them ages and ages ago, years ago now. And and they bought them up first because I put something in location. But let's put in here, let's go Oxford, and we want to stay on, I don't know, we want to come in on the Tuesday, and we want to leave. We're going to stay for 4 nights. And I want the entire home and apartment. Now, bear with me while I do this. I just want to show you this, because this is how you need to understand how a customer coming in would choose. And this is what I do as a customer. Yeah, I want to take the home. Yeah. Do I want to put on traveling for work? No, not right now. Properties that take health and safety measures. Tick that. I want to make sure I'm not going to get any COVID or anything like that. So make sure that your listing is up to date. Holiday home. No, I don't want to stay in a guest house. Homestays. Don't know what that is. Star rating. Less than a mile. So distance from centre of Oxford, half a mile, 2 miles. So you can see there's not many there, look. Half a mile, 17, 29. So which ones do you think are going to get booked? People don't choose to go, oh, I'll go the furthest distance away if I can. So now I'm going to go less than half a mile, because I know that I want to park up, and I will go for parking as well. Things to do. Look, I'm there for a tourist. I don't really care. I've ticked apartments. That's what I want. Landmarks, Oxford Castle. Now here is a key. I'm not too fussed about Oxford Castle, but some people may be, and they may, you know what? I want to be near Oxford Castle. I like that. Now the ratings, I want to go 9 and I want to go 8s. That's what I want. I want to make sure that, yeah. All right, and I want to go 8s as well. So I'll tick both, all right, because I know that not everyone gets 9s. Parking, I want parking as well, please. Yes, that would be nice. Neighbourhood, Oxford City Centre. It's already in the centre, so I'm not going to click that. Oh, map. Yeah, let's have a look on the map. And I see the centre here, and then they come up in order. And these two happen to be Tim Dix's. And then we go on to these ones, 35 reviews, 130 reviews. And for me, I would look at the reviews. I'd want probably more than 30 or 40 for me to think it's believable. Tim's got 92 and 88. I like to look at that. I like to look at that. That there, I don't know what that is. And that probably wouldn't attract me. There's a bridge. I want to see what the property looks like. That I wouldn't look at because of the photo. That I definitely wouldn't look at. I don't like it. Another one of Tim's. That, I don't know what the photo is about. Good. It happens to be another one of Tim's. Bloody hell, mate. Banfield Living. There we go. Guys, you don't need the logo on there. If you're listening, don't have a lead photo with your logo, unless you are the Hilton or whatever it might be. Good. So I'd probably do more than a bed for your photos. And look, then here, I see, okay, there we go. Yeah, I can see the location bopping up at me. Where's that one? Oh yeah, they're right next to each other. Okay, that one looks like dead center. Let's have a look at this one. Then I'll go into it more. I'll look at the property. The reviews are good. Yeah, they flash up clean. Nice, I like it. Awesome, it's got a balcony. So beware of what order you put your photos in. If you don't want your best photos being your +21, you want them to flash up quick. And I look at this. Oh, look, coffee pods. I'm a coffee freak. I like coffee. Look, right next to the castle. Wow, what's this? This looks nice. Wow, okay, so it's close to the new shopping centre. Wife will be happy. Near the castle, I'll be happy with kids. And we've got shops nearby and a theatre. Wow, this is a great location. You know what? I'm going to reserve it now. And then you go in and you book. But most of what I've done on here is location based. You know, apart from the reviews, location based. Less than half a mile, location based. Fun things to do is location based. Property type. Landmarks is location based. Review score, blah, blah, blah. Parking, do you have parking? Yes, no, whatever it might be. If you don't have parking, work out some way that you can provide parking. Use Just Park or whatever it might be. Say, yes, we will arrange free parking for you so that you get ticked on there. Look, there's only 13 that provide parking out of however many there are. Room facilities, kitchen, yeah, oh yeah, I want to take a bath or whatever, balcony, whatever. So you can see that your property, you know, you must have all of these things soundproofing. And if it's purpose built, have soundproofing. It is soundproofed. Oxford City Centre, room accessibility, you know, that comes down to different things. But you can see that the map is important. And even at the top here, look, map, show on map. Now, if I'm looking at, let's change this. Let's look at distance. Let's change our distance. So check-in date, and you know, I want to check in. I want to check in on the 4th of January, and I want to check out on the 21st because I'm a contractor, and I'm going to need something for 4 adults. You know, we're all going to stay, and I want separate beds as well. This type of thing. And I want to know that it's good. Yeah, guest house, I want to stay. Chose the same, blah, 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 blah. Less than 2 miles, I'm happy for that. Because we know that we're not going to get parking for a couple of vans, right? That far. Things to do, doesn't really bother me. Walking tours, golf course, happy hour. No, I'm not worried about that. No, I want an apartment, don't want a guest house. Doesn't worry me. Parking, definitely need parking. Kitchen, yeah, definitely need a kitchen, all of that. Yeah, I'm going to put in private bathroom. Restaurant facilities, no, don't need that. Flat screen TV, oh, you definitely need that. Washing machine, yeah. This is crap how this works. So keep going back down. Definitely the washing machine because I need to clean up all my stuff every day when I come home, covered in muck. Wheelchair accessibility, entire unit located on ground floor. I prefer that. See how we always say when we're searching as well, look for, you know, those nice ground floor flats. And now look, I'm on the map again. I'll probably have a closer look at the map. And then I'll say to myself, right, I'm actually working at, you know, where am I working? Let's say we're doing some work at the Oxford University, whatever. So I'll say, right, these are my closest. Oh, Tim comes up again. So you can look at all of these. That's a good photo. See, 1 second. So you can see it's all location based. So, you know, I may look at these and look at that one. Okay, it's 9.2. It's only had 4 reviews though. I'm not too sure about that. That's had 23. Banfield Living. The Wharf House 21. What's this one had under there? Very good. Percy's Heritage. I don't know about that. Sounds a bit weird. Good. See, Timbo's coming up again because he can sleep 4 adults. He's got 2 bed, 2 bath. And again, he's coming up constantly. And then I might see one there around a building, master, 1 2-bed apartments close to JR Hospital. And I might say to myself, you know what? This one's very close here. Look at that. 288. I might look at that. Yeah, that looks all right for us, the boys. What else have we got? And this is how people look, you know, when they're a contractor or whatever it might be. And they're not going to be too fussed about the horrible red colors. But here, they can look at this and they can think to themselves, right, there seems to be plenty of parking about, plenty of parking about. And you know what? As a contractor, I'd look at that and I'd think, yeah, plenty of parking. Look at that, security for my vans. And as a contractor, I'd give that a go. I'd take that. If, and I mean only if, I was working at that hospital. There. Nice and close, near the A40. If I were a contractor. Because I know that I wouldn't have to be to and froing into the town, especially on traffic days. And I'm here, look, I'm there in 5 minutes, nice and quick. It could take me 20 minutes, half an hour to get into Oxford and out. So you see how people would choose. Now, before you say, right, I'm going to get a property here and I'm going to, now that one's been there for a while. It's got 288 reviews. Now, before you say, hey, I'm going to get a property here, here, and here, you know, make sure you understand why you're getting it. And is it because the hospital consistently has that need for accommodation? Make sense? Now, if you go to Airbnb, put in Oxford here, dates, yeah, 2 children, blah, blah, blah. What's the first thing that comes up? It's huge. It's there. It's a map. It's the first thing that it's the biggest thing on here. A map. And then you can put in, okay, where am I going to stay? Summertown, yeah. I've got some work up there. Let's have a look at that one. What's that one do? Blah, 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 Summertown. And you look at it and you go, right, that's in my price range, Summertown. I can do that. Or you might look £70. As a contractor, £70, blah, blah, blah. You know, your rents need to be low to cover that. You know, then you start to get into the city, your rents are going to be much higher, but your rates are going to be high because people expect to pay more in the centre. So if you're looking for contractors in the centre, blue collars, it ain't going to work. And here, 204, entire apartment, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So internet's a bit slow. Yeah, looks good to me. Oxfordshire Living, don't care about that. Yeah, looks good. Beds don't look so sturdy to me. Good. Okay, separate showers, 2 showers, that's good. Yeah, I could stay there as a business person or whatever. Stuff like this is novel stuff. And I've got a friend around here who's she's built one like a hut, and she does very well. And she is a 15-minute drive out of the main town. So, you know, you've got to know your market and address who it is that you're going to attract. You can't be a Hilton and a Travelodge all in one. You can't be the Savoy Hotel and a Best Western all in one. You can't attract the same guests. So think about it like that. Think about who you're trying to attract and stick to your target market, because your marketing will all reflect that. And then you can focus on who you're going to target. So just because somebody's done well in contractors, don't quickly just, you don't have to quickly just follow, because there may be something that they've done to get to that point, which has taken them a month or 2 months to get to that point, and you think, yeah, I'll just copy it. And make sure that where you're setting up any contractor work is going to be sustainable for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. In the city, it's going to be sustainable for decades, because that's the way it works. It's a city. Right, so let's go back to central, yeah, companies in the area, yeah. This is more the HMO one, but operations, you don't want any more than half, you understand all of this, right? Large city helps get to know the area, be the local expert, blah, 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 know the local rules, as in, what can you do, can't you do, 90-day rule, that type of stuff in London and what have you. So permissions, obviously you understand all your permissions, licensing, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So we'll finish that for now. Now, the next most important thing is the experience. Now, when you look at, this is when I'm saying you cannot be a Savoy and a Best Western all in one. If you're building a customer experience around your marketing, that type of thing, Tim's got it. I must say, Tim has got it down pat. So is Lindsay and James. You know your market, you know who you target, and everything in your marketing is around your target end user. Your product is built for that target end user. It means that your brand can build up to being, you guys are more of a Hilton, Sheraton. So I know some of James's are probably, nearing on a bit of a Savoy type feel, because, the grandeur, high ceilings and that type of thing, and that kind of feel and look. So you're attracting premium paying customers. Yes, some of them may be shorter term, but you're making that profit to cover it, in more ways than one. So, and your locations are based on that. You're central, and and you've had them for years. So it just goes to show that it works. But you need to be careful with, and the customer experience. People know your returning customers, of which I know you have many. They come back because they know what they're going to get. It's like you go to, people moan about chains, restaurant chains, but you go and order a Big Mac in McDonald's in Stamford, Liverpool, Birmingham, Manchester, London, 200 restaurants in London. Chances are that Big Mac is going to be 95 to 100% the same as every other Big Mac that you order. It's what they do. They know what the experience is that their target market is looking for. They don't put down silver service and have waiters in McDonald's to serve you a freaking Big Mac, because people know what they're going to get. And this is why contractors know what they want and they know what they expect. This is why tourists of certain levels know what they're going to buy. They know what they're going to get. They know what they want. And you just have to find out what that is and provide it. It's simple as that. So, your property type needs to be the right location and the right type of property. You can have ex-council house flats if you want, but don't expect to attract the Hilton, Sheraton, Savoy type customers. And I've seen people trying to attract those type of customers. And this is why Booking.com demands an external photo of the property, so that you cannot swindle your customer, because there's nothing worse. You know, if I book, you know, the Marriott hotel, let's say, or something like that, and I turn up and hang on a minute, there's a Travelodge or there's a Holiday Inn Express, but I don't see any Marriott. Oh, don't worry, don't worry, we're the same thing. We're the same company. Well, no, you're not. I booked a freaking Marriott, not a Holiday Inn. And actually, you've charged me 180 quid for the Marriott when everyone else here staying at the Holiday Inn is paying £49. Why are you ripping me off? I know it's like, you know, it's a very broad analogy, but I'm doing that to make you understand the basics of what you need to do and don't do. So, you know, stick to your target market. You can branch out to those white collar workers, contractors, because they have the budget and they also have the mentality that that's what they want. Want something nice because it's what they stay in normally. You know, you're not going to have somebody who's earning 100, 150 grand, 200 grand a year, who's going to, you know, who's used to staying in nice apartments, you know, like Tim's apartment, staying in those types of apartments in Oxford, then suddenly, because they're working, go and book something else. In fact, because they're working, they may actually book something slightly better than what they would normally stay in because they're not paying for it. They may milk the system. You know, when I've stayed in apartments in the corporate world in the States, I stayed in suites or at least 2 or 3 bedroom apartments, condos, when I only needed one because I wanted the space. I wanted that feeling from home. I didn't want to stay in a 1-bed flat. I didn't want it, which I knew was going to be in a group of many others. I wanted more peace and quiet, and, you know, and so some, you know, I have actually stayed in 4 and 5 bedroom houses in the US on my own. I've done that because I like the true feeling from home. I wanted a big house to be in. And that's when I stayed there for 4, 5, 6 weeks at a time. Yeah, I wanted to have that experience. And it is down to experience. I didn't want to spend 4, 5, 6 weeks feeling like I was in a prison in a 1-bed flat, 2-bed flat even. I wanted, you know, and I wanted to be able to not bloody have to drive everywhere. In the States, you have to drive everywhere. But with me, I wanted to go for a walk. Where can I do some exercise? Is there a gym nearby? Where can I go running? And that's what people want, especially if they're staying more than 2 or 3 nights. They want that experience. I know I do. I remember Daniela saying, oh, you know, I don't want to stay in that hotel because it's too far. In fact is, it would have probably added an extra 3 or 4 minutes time to your run, but you wanted to run near the park. So the hotel, the best one was, you know, the William Cecil, whatever it was, and that's where it was. Was it better food than the other one? No way. But it's, you choose what you want. It's the experience that you choose that you want. And that's how we are as humans. What best suits me for what it is I want to do. So, you know, I think I've said enough. I just want you to, you know, team, you're doing well, but I want to make sure that you don't go out and do these silly contractor things. And there are properties in Oxford that are doing well with contractors, but they need to be outside of the centre and in certain other areas. And you need to make sure that it's the side where all the work is happening. As you can see over that hospital, whatever it is, you know, it's in line with, you know, the whole core system. Yeah, booked a nice 2-bedroom apartment this time, Daniela has, and I know exactly where that apartment is. A friend of mine, John, built those apartments, so I know their quality. And I know exactly where they are. And it is literally, you know, a 2-minute walk into town. And you can cook there, or you can walk into the Crown, or loads of other restaurants that you can go to. And I know that if you cross the road, there is a Waitrose, which is another 2-minute walk away from you. And if you go down the hill 50 meters, turn right, you've got a nice run up the hill through the leafy part of Stamford. So it's a great location. Good. Yeah, it is easy to get complacent. Please don't get complacent. Enjoy your day. If there's any questions, put it on the group. Let me know what you think. The recording will come out as well. Take care, guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.